G'day, freedom lovers and freedom fighters out there. Whether you're a lover or a fighter, so long as there's freedom in it, how could it be bad? So, ladies and gentlemen, today, hopefully the internet's going to hold out. We've been watching it do the Friday thing where the internet drops in and out a bit. Today, it seems that it's an area issue because when I went down the street to make a couple of purchases, it turns out, some computer systems down the road were also having trouble. So, I mean, and it makes you wonder, like, are they targeting this area just to get at me and make it not look like it's just me? You got to wonder, especially since it's happened 2 Fridays in a row. It's you can't make these things up. And, I just might check to see if the surveillance mob are out there doing their thing again today too. Like I got quite a few screenshots of every time they fly over with their drones and whatnot. Let's have a quick squiz, shall we? Bit of light-hearted entertainment. I think I'm supposed to be intimidated by these things, but it's actually more of an amusement than anything. So, like, just like these comical geniuses at the Townsville Bulletin Channel 10, trying to do hit pieces on you. It's just fucking hilarious. Like, I if they weren't so incompetent, I might actually be worried. Leave it's time for calm in the freedom movement. Too many influences are inciting fear through distractions that are not relevant to fight at hand. Yeah, that's I'm with you on that one. We don't need any more fear porn. That's why I'm laughing at these idiots. Like, seriously, what's a drone gonna do? Like, I mean, I'm live on the internet telling you what I think and what I'm doing. So what do they hope to fucking achieve with the drone? Seriously. I'm trying to figure out how this thing works again. I figured it out earlier before, but now wanted to do it on the fly. I can't seem to get it going. Oh, I've lost the button for it. More connection settings, is it? So many bloody settings on these things today. It's getting harder and harder to figure out how to bloody use your own phone. Simple things used to be a lot simpler back in the day, didn't they? Hang on. There we go. We're having a look. Any extra networks today? Hey, isn't that interesting? That made everything squeal for a second. I'm not seeing any extra networks. What if I go? No. No, maybe they're taking the night off. They're not flying their drones, mate. Maybe I made too many points of it in the last couple of podcasts, and then Struth, maybe we'd actually better hide the hidden network this time. Anyway, so the viewers are popping in as an opportune moment to say big thanks to Jake Sawyer, Ruben, Karina, Carla, Gaza, Lee, and Jeannie for being my awesome Patreons. Of course, Vincent, Andrew, Richo, and of course my amazing anonymous ones. Who like to drop a couple of bucks in here and there. All the various. Lovely freedom lovers in the Townsville community who are I see at various places who slip us a couple of bucks here and there to say thanks. It's all you guys rock. Of course, all the fans for watching. And hey, man, that like button? It's just down there somewhere. Or a little heart thing and all that shit. Doesn't take much effort to give that a click. Like I think it's pretty disturbing when I look at how many thousands of people will friggin' watch a video, and you're lucky if 10% of them can go, hey, I like that. You sat through it and watched the whole thing. You must have liked it. I mean, to me, hitting that like button, it's kind of like being at a public performance, but you're clapping. So if you enjoyed it, give me a clap. Click like. Hey, if you really enjoyed it, you should share it with your friends and say, hey, check this shit out. It's pretty cool. Share the love, and subscribe so you know what the hell's going on. You can catch it live, get your little comments that come up on the screen like that. Mitch here has got the ultimate truth sips. So I hope you've all got your drinking hats on. Upside down, turn it around. Good old blackboard, hey? Here you going, Richo? Yeah, Sherry, love you too. Love your work. Big sips again. Sure, smash before the guest gets in. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So, of course, a few people have already emailed me, so I haven't got back to everyone just yet, asking for the letters regarding fluoridization. The way I am approaching the situation, which is, hey, council, can you prove that you follow the law? Turns out they couldn't. So they've got their notice of default, and won't get too much into what's going to happen next, but it'll be fun. Don't you worry about that. So if you guys want a copy of these letters and whatnot, and maybe much like our guest today, Gary, who will be on to talk to us in a momentarily. You've got ideas and you want to find yourself here on this podcast, then drop us a line. Get Gary contacted me a little while back, and this big long laundry list of awesome stuff. I'm like, here's a dude who knows what he's talking about. Hey, do you want to come on this show and just share it straight up with the people, rather than me reading it all out, And he's like, yeah, fuck, I'll do that. That'd be awesome. So without further ado, here's Gary to do exactly that. How are you, mate?
Hey, how you going?
Yeah, good, man. Good. How's life down in Geelong, buddy?
Oh, coasting along. I've
Yeah.
got a council to attack soon, hopefully. A council meeting's coming up soon.
Yep.
Oh, like every other council around Australia, they're a pain in the neck and
Yep.
generally disliked by just about everyone under the sun.
Yep.
Um, well, um, yeah, I got them a couple of years ago.
Mm.
Made them scrap a contract for one of these bike lanes projects,
Yep.
and well, that took a while because originally 2022 um, made them scrap the contract, but preceding that was 2019 when they were originally going to vote on it. So I went to the council meeting there and got to the microphone and give them a serve and
So they
verbally
let you
noticed them.
actually comment in the council down in Geelong, because
Yeah, you
we're
get.
yeah, we're not even allowed to burp loudly, I believe. Like, I mean, one of the ladies who was down at the local council meeting recently, she applauded one of the councillors for the things that they said, and bloody security come and told her off for clapping.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, they're running a whole separate dictatorship up here.
Yeah, they're refusing to because I looked at the December live stream. They live stream it here, and they weren't even. You submit questions a day. You got to have them in the day before, or the Monday by midday. You got to have your questions, and you get two questions,
Hmm.
and you get to ask them at the meeting, and the bloke gets up and asks his questions. And they said, "Oh yeah, well we won't answer it now. We'll send you a written reply." Well,
All right.
now I had a bit of I've never seen it before, and I had a bit of a problem with that because the question's being asked publicly, and the reply needs to be public. Right? They
Yeah.
get time to answer it, and they've got resources like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah.
Nearly three
Well,
thousand staff here.
yeah, and so he's put that question ahead of time, so it's not like they didn't know, hey?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably more likely they don't want to answer the question.
I reckon you might be onto something there, man.
Doing that because um, aside from the commercial liability, they're also the councils, all the councils, the corporate councils are all subject to the Australian Competition and Consumer Act
Mm.
for misleading and deceptive practices, but
Yep.
also will also be for denial of service and restraint of trade.
Rightio.
They're all under the consumer law. I'm not sure if
Yep.
I sent you that document or the link to that document, but I
No, but it
can.
shouldn't be hard to. What was it called again? Australian Competition and Consumer Law, correct?
Yeah, councils are subject to for misleading and deceptive practices. You should get it. It's from a New South Wales ruling, probably about 10 years ago, where
So
Coles and Woolies. Yep,
are you
sorry.
talking about an actual? Are you talking about an actual case, or do you want the legislation itself?
No, the thing came from a friend in Tassie who boxing on really seriously,
Mm,
and there's a Supreme Court ruling that councils are commercial operations and so subject to the Consumer Act, Competition and
right.
Consumer Act, for misleading and deceptive practices. But also under the Act, there'd be not a denial of service and restraint of trade, which the restraint of trade is probably applicable where they take a million years to, approve a planning proposal. Right?
Mm-hmm.
They'll bang a business up for years and years and years on that, uh, which is probably a breach of their charter as well, because all these organisations have to treat you courteously and efficaciously.
Yep.
And efficacious means don't stuff him around, basically.
Yeah.
Prompt service.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, the insurer, the Geelong Council insurer, paid out $6.5 million to a local developer in Lara that
Yep.
the, some executives from planning banged him up for 8.5 years
Mm.
because they had a development alongside this guy. It's just building sheds like your boating, fishing, camping, bunning sort of sheds. And
Yep.
these council guys thought they'd where how they got the money, I don't know, because I mean they are a commercial operation, so I suppose they use ratepayers' money and go and make a bit of money for themselves.
Mm.
But their patch had drainage problems that were going to cost them $2.5 million to fix, and they banged this guy up. Really well-known developer, built a lot of places, houses around Geelong. 8.5 years trying to work out ways to get him to pay for their drainage problem,
Mm-hmm.
but he decided to sue them, and they they boxed on for all that time. But in February, probably about 4 years ago now, it was going to go to the Supreme Court,
Mm.
and council had to pack it in because there could have been probably criminal charges involved under the Local Government Act.
Right.
Like I told you about misuse of position, the
Yep.
76D of the 1989 Victorian Local Government Act says that any council person banging up someone else can be found guilty of a criminal charge. It amounts to 3 years in jail and a $60,000 fine. Just
Mm.
using your power in your position to sort of bang someone up, David and Goliath sort of thing.
Yeah.
So they
Yeah.
had to pack it in because they would have ended up having to pay the whole 8.5 million,
Mm.
and some of those suits could have gone to jail. I reckon
Yeah.
criminal charges. Yeah,
Mm.
so that's not in the 2020 Act. They got to put a new act in 2020. I couldn't find it anywhere, so they must
I
have got
found a
rid of it.
2000. I found 2010 Competition and Consumer Act, but it seems like
A copy of it here.
compilation. This compilation was prepared on the 1st of January 2011.
I'll send you a copy of it anyway because it's from Biggins and Scott Lawyers in Sydney somewhere.
Okay.
And the ruling was that because the council was playing off Coles and Woolies to get a better
Yeah.
deal out of them,
Mm.
and they took it to court, and the ruling was that uh, they were talking to Woolies and Coles separately, and neither of them knew what was going on, um,
Mm.
and that constituted misleading practices because they're
Right.
looking for the best deal, probably getting a bit of payola or whatever. They're not
Mm.
averse to doing that. And the judge said, uh, "You're subject to the consumer law." He said they're a commercial operation
Yep.
in commerce because all corporations, all your 351 or 70, 371 councils in Australia, if they're operating under an ABN,
Mm.
they are a business
Yep.
because an ABN is an Australian business number, and they're
Yep.
in there to make quids. And they have little enterprises. you'll see them when you look up ABN lookup. You'll
Mm.
get their ABN. You click on that, and then down you scroll down a bit, and they'll have all the little different enterprises and businesses and stuff. So they're a
Yeah.
commercial operation.
And they've got a CEO and a whole business model and all that,
Yeah, yeah,
like
and
it's pretty obvious,
in
particularly
the
with the council, and I mean, even the police, like, you get a letter from with the police letterhead on it. It's got an ABN number. Like, come on.
yep, because
But
they're
like they
incorporated.
exactly.
That one where I got the masks off Daniel Andrews come from
Yes, yeah.
this one
Well,
here.
actually, you better let the people know about the backstory to that, because we just had a yarn about it, but nobody else knows what's going on. So
Oh,
start from the
right.
beginning with that one.
In 2020, with the COVID business all going on, Daniel Andrews got on the news and said everybody's got to wear masks, right? So I've gone, oh, okay, Daniel, because Daniel's was the CEO of the Victorian Government Corporation, right?
Yep.
And I wrote to him, and that's the thing there,
Yeah.
just one page. And I said, well, Daniel, if you're ordering people to wear masks, and you must accept the liability for the cost and supply of the masks, and anyone who gets becomes unwell from wearing the masks, right?
Yeah.
And I just went and forgot about it because it was the first time I'd done anything like that, right?
Mm.
And I'm leaving the flat one day. I'm on the first floor, housing commission, 16 units, and just locking up the joint. And here's the postie with a armful of great big white envelopes.
Mm.
And I said, oh, so, mate, how are you? I've never seen you up here before. What's going on? He says, oh, I've got these for you. And I said, what are they? He said, masks. I said, who are they from? And he said, from the government. Lo and behold, they were. I'll show you the things. Well, I kept them. And that's them there, the masks
Yeah.
and some literature and stuff. But
They
the
come with a
one
couple
thing,
of DVDs or something by the look of it.
no, they're masks from, he must have got them cheap or for nothing because they're from Cotton
Probably his
On
mates in
Town
China.
days. Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Or
Oh, yeah.
Bangladesh, because this company, Cotton On,
Yeah. Yeah.
they're a Geelong company that have all their stuff made in Bangladesh. And the guy's a multi-billionaire,
Oh,
come
there
from
you go.
Geelong. So that's it. But the only thing you do if you write to the government and you get something like that back, you have to keep the envelope. I didn't keep the envelope because
Mm.
the envelope is proof of delivery, right? That's very
Yeah.
important. You keep everything, So Daniel, he sent the mask, but this notice was also about 16th. I think it was the 16th of October 2019. I'm lying around here listening to the radio. Had some gastric problems, and listening to ABC Classic FM, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock in the morning. And Daniel comes on in the news bulletin and he says two lines. He says, the people of Victoria need to help Victoria Police do their job. And then he goes and says, Victoria Police are now independent of the Parliament of Victoria. And I couldn't believe it, right? Because
Right. Yeah.
what he was doing was gazetting a legislative change.
Mm.
Because he basically said, I'll privatise the police.
Yeah.
All right? And that's what he did. He created his own militia.
Mm.
And um, that's mentioned in there. He said nothing about the police, but he
Mm.
sent the masks out. So, and you can, even in Queensland, because,
Mm.
Rom up in Cairns, the Justinian
Yep.
Deception guy, he
Mm-hmm.
made that video, Police Are Not Government, where he's harassing this highway patrol guy or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you'll see that the police cars have
See that
normal
was
registration plates on, normal commercial plates,
Yeah.
not state registered plates. And the cars here is the same thing in Victoria. The cars are all different makes and models. There'll be a Ford Territory, there'll be a Holden, there'll be a Toyota, the highway patrol guys go belting around in BMWs.
Yeah.
And a lady that I know who's a truck driver, pretty switched on, says the cars are actually privately owned by the coppers. Be owned by the coppers.
Yeah.
They're not fleet vehicles,
Yeah. I found that video you're talking about. So that's the one where he wanders up, and he just gives a go at him for parking too close to the curb and all that. Is that the one you're talking about?
Breaking the law.
Give me a sec. I'll just bring it up.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is from the YouTube channel Justinian Deception. For anybody who would like to, obviously, we want to acknowledge, the creators of this video as I get a hold of it to bring it up. So
he's a good man, Rob.
Yeah, good dude. He's actually one of the ones I believe that was helped formulate the fluoride letters for cans. All them years back too, which are getting resurfaced and used all over the place. But we'll talk a little bit more about the fluoride thing with where's my note? I was having a chat with a lady today from up in Cooktown, Rhonda and Tony, who we're going to organise to have a bit of a yarn with what's going on in Cooktown there, and we'll probably get a little bit more into some more fluoride letters at that point. But this video, let's just give me a second. I'll drop it in the right spot and we'll bring it in. But yeah, the Know Your Rights guys are, sort of ask the same kind of question. Basically, is is this a militia as opposed to a private army? As opposed to the traditional police force that we were accustomed to.
The cops in Victoria were out of order, completely out of order.
I've never seen anything like it. To turn on their people the way they did, it was disgraceful. But yeah, here's this video. Let's show the world.
Yeah.
Mate, how are you going?
Yes. Can I help, sir?
Yeah. You park legally here. You on a business or something?
I am.
Bit close to the corner there, aren't you?
Yeah.
Is there any reason for that?
It's incomplete paperwork. And it would
Get a
be
name?
fair if you didn't film me. No, because
Gonna
I'm
get
not
filmed?
dealing with you.
Yes,
I'm
you
not
are.
dealing with you. Please walk away from
Could you
the car,
state your full name then?
No.
You state your name and number, please.
No, I don't need to because I'm not dealing with you, okay?
Well,
Clean paperwork, okay? Have a good day.
would you go park somewhere? Mate, your car's registered as commercial. It's registered as commercial, mate. You're not registered as government, you're registered as commercial. You got an ABN, but you're registered as a non-organisation. Hey, mate, you're not even a police officer. You're not even a police officer. You're illegally parked. Right on the corner. Are you from traffic branch? Are you from traffic branch? I can't hear you. Wind your window down a bit so I can hear you. Come on, be civil. I'm asking a question. Well, you go park somewhere right. You don't park illegally. You want my name? I'll give you my name, then we're contracting. Mate, go. You better move on, eh? Come on, man, move on. You go park legally. You got plenty of time to do that. You work for us. Come on. Oi. You do as you're told. This is commercial. You're running a commercial operation here. It's a commercial operation. You got to. Yes, I will move. I'll do anything you want. But it's a commercial operation, or are you doing something business, or you can park over there or park on the right
park
area.
here, okay?
Yeah, but you're not supposed to
dealing
park.
with
This
you.
is a
Please move away from the vehicle. You're hindering me from doing my job.
You're not doing your job
Yes,
properly.
I am.
You're illegally parked.
I'm not
You're a
gonna
commercial.
I'm not going to
Don't step up to me. I've stepped away from you.
I'm
Now
not
don't step up
going
to me.
Enter into an argument with you.
You
I'm
already
doing my
have. You
job.
are illegally.
Goodbye.
What's your job? Well, go park properly.
Goodbye.
You are a commercial operation. That's registered as a commercial vehicle.
Yeah,
It's
go
not
away.
government. You are not government.
Go away.
Is that an order?
Go away.
Is that an order? Is that an order? Yeah, move on. That's an order. Romney Stewart, 19561565. An order. Move on. Move on.
Well, there you go.
There you go.
It's
Very good.
you know.
Uh,
Oh, g'day,
Yeah,
Dean. How are you, mate? The whole up speed, something's up, man, mate. I'm having similar issues. So I'll have a chat to you a bit later, Dean. They're playing funny buggers, but yeah. Anyway, so where were we, man?
we're
I
talking about
found that
Daniel
up.
Andrews and his coppers and stuff.
Yep.
That line, Victoria Police are now independent of the Parliament of Victoria.
Yep.
If you type that in, the Cairns News article will come up because I wrote a document about how to deal with the police. And they published it. because they're a corporation and you don't answer any questions because you don't want to contract with them. But then they got you, and just tells you what to do.
So yeah, that's the Cairns News article. So, and this is the one you wrote, as a letter to the editor.
Yeah.
Yep. So Victoria Police and how to deal with them. On October 16, 2019, on Wednesday, Premier Daniel Andrews said on the ABC Classic FM News Bulletin, the people of Victoria need to help Victoria Police to do their job. Victoria Police are now independent of the Parliament of Victoria. This means that Vic Pol have no lawful authority. Their only jurisdiction is by contract. Never ever identify as a person. The person is a legal title and is not living, breathing man or woman, but a paper title. And a lot of oaths you'll find that they'll say without respect to the person. For that reason, you don't want to be the person. There's no respect for the person. So statutes only apply to statutory persons, not people, because you are made of flesh and blood, not paper. For more on the person, Google the office of the person for the full story. So what you should not do when confronted by police, don't answer any questions, as they will then have you in contract and can do whatever they want. You have the right to remain silent as always. Answer a question with a question. Don't do anything they ask. Example: if you go to court when you tell the magistrate your name, you are instantly in contract. The magistrate cannot proceed, has no jurisdiction at all until you give him your full name. Try just telling him you are Jim or Bob and see him go nowhere. Never answer to your surname. The contract is in the law. When you contract with the magistrate, he is the law, and you're done. And be polite, because one day, as they do in the US, the coppers will be able to shoot you if they feel you are threatening them. And it's amazing how often we're hearing things at the moment of certain councillors and whatnot starting to state things like, I fear for my life, so that they can play the victim card and put themselves in that kind of a position of authority based on the fact that they're claiming to be some kind of a victim. The best way to be a rebel is to not be a rebel at all, because then they will have no reason to bail you up. They're only fishing for a fine anyway. Things you can stuff them up with. Ask them for their license to carry their gun, which is a good one, because it's actually part of their uniform is how they get away with that one, I believe. If they do not have it on them, they are in illegal possession of the firearm. As Vic Pol are corporate, the Commissioner of Police is the CEO, a corporate title. They have to have an insurer, indemnity insurance, etc., commonly known as the bondholder. Each police officer will have an individual bond/insurance number. Ask them for the bondholder's name and their individual bond number, and watch them back off, as they have just noted, as you have just noticed them of their liability. And make sure you ask them if they are a public servant. If not, they are not government. Police Minister cannot order Vic Pol to do anything. From my reading of the Victoria Police Act 2013, it seems that the Police Minister Geelong's very own Lisa Neville has no power to order or ask police to do anything, let alone allocate resources to your neighbourhood to combat the spat of crimes you have and may continue to experience. We're certainly seeing that up here. If you read from page 26 and 27 of the Act, you may be astonished, as I was, to read what the Act says. The police have an obligation to protect life and property, but how to do this is not defined. The minister cannot demand that police patrol the neighbourhood, nor are Vic Pol obliged to even give the minister information as to what they may be doing. Please read this section 2, if you will. It won't take long, and you will be amazed. Disclaimer: this document is for information and entertainment purposes only. Just like this podcast.
Yeah, it's all for information and entertainment, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, we don't give legal advice because we're not legal persons.
No, that's it. I'm not a person.
Yeah, one of the things with the
That's
cops,
it.
if they you tell them 3 times, you're not going to answer any questions, or
Mm,
what's the problem? Am I under arrest? And you say, well, look, I've told you 3 times. I'm not asked. I'm not obliged to answer any questions because
mm,
of the right to remain silent. And I would tell them that if you're going to detain me any longer without charge,
mm.
I'm going to have to bill you at my standard rate. Each of you,
Yep.
if there's 3 coppers there, you say, I'm going to have to bill you for my time.
Yep.
And my standard rate is $250 an hour or part thereof.
Yep.
So that'll probably make them
Yeah.
go away because they want to
Yeah.
make money, not spend it.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. And a 1 minimum hour purchase. Yeah, 1 hour
Yeah,
minimum
yeah. So
purchase.
2 minutes and that's
Yeah.
$750. It'd be a good earn, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. Definitely.
Um, with the councils, it's all about liability. It's all about contract, and it's all about jurisdiction. All right, because your
Mm,
council's a corporation, and they will not have a signed wetting contract with anyone, any
mm,
constituent, any rate-paying constituent, because the contract has to be entered into under conditions of full disclosure, no duress, and it has to have be signed wetting signature. Right? It's all
mm,
got to be voluntarily, and you've got to be fully informed. They don't have a contract with anyone.
mm,
Only with people like if there's a private garbage collection agency to collect the garbage, they'll contract people to perform services, fix drains and all that sort of stuff, sucker trucks and all that. But they won't have a contract with you, any householder at all.
mm.
And what I'm saying, because on my original Rumble page, I made a video that's called "Are Council Rates Legal?" Question mark. I don't think so.
Yeah.
And I chucked that up on this Facebook page. Um, we are watching you, local councils, or something it's called on Facebook.
Okay.
And all
Not
these
familiar with that
people
one.
come, yeah, check it out. Oh, they attacked me like viciously.
Yeah, I can imagine.
um, and I think they're all lawyers because um, uh, I said to them that, and it's a fact that
Oh, yep.
you got it.
Yeah, we are watching you, local councils, Australia.
Be there somewhere. Yeah, I boxed on with them a fair bit because I said to them that, and I reckon all these people were lawyers, right? And they were just absolutely mortified that I said to them that legislation, codes, and statutes are private law, not applicable to anyone but someone that's foolish enough to contract with them and accept it.
Mm,
And like we used to say about the council, they'd quote the legislation to us, and we'd say, well, sorry, no, it's not applicable to me. It's only applicable to you, your contractors, and your employees.
yeah.
And we'd say not applicable because it's private law. The Parliament, when it makes legislation, doesn't consult you,
Mm,
doesn't consult the constituency. And my local member's just one street away, and she
yeah.
admitted that, right? She's a lower house member. So it's not applicable to you because all law is by consent only.
Mm,
It's not consented to, right? If they have a referendum on an issue and it gets, the 60%, 2/3 majority, then it becomes law, right?
mm,
And the law actually is the Constitution because that is a legally and lawfully binding contract between the people of this country and the government of the day.
mm.
And that was confirmed to me by bloke that was in the upper house for Geelong, Simon Ramsey. I asked him the question one day, and he said correct. And about 3 weeks later, he got busted down the main street of Bowen Heads, rotten as a chop at midnight, driving his car, blew .170 or something like that,
Sure.
and had to resign.
Yeah.
But that's the facts, right? And the heads of power, which is what the government can do, and that's applicable to the state as well, are granted subject to the proviso that the government ensures that what it does delivers peace, order, and good government. That's exactly what they don't do.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's all the exact opposite. It's like the mirroring thing, you know.
Oh yeah.
And the other thing is that they're supposed to protect life and property, which they don't do because they want to screw you for everything you've got. And they're also the individual members of parliaments, both state and federal, are obliged to act in the best interests of their constituents, and they don't do that either.
Yeah.
So,
well, that's it. I believe in our local government act. I've forgotten what section it is. I think it's section 12, if memory serves me correct. Somebody point me out if I've got it wrong. Where that's what the local councils are supposed to do, is to serve the community. That's one of their main things. But they seem to be serving their own personal interests more than anything, to the extent that when I was mailing off my, notice of default to council this week, I was in at the post office and the lady noticed that, I'm sending it to the council attention, and I just wrote mayor. I wasn't going to put acting mayor, or because we've got an actor that's posing as mayor at the moment.
It's all a punch and Judy show.
The lady behind the counter goes to me, "Do we even have a mayor at the moment?" And I said to her, "You know what? I was really tempted to write attention Troy Thompson just to piss off Anne Marie Greening because she's such a bitch." The woman laughed. I'm like, "Cool. I'm not the only one that thinks that." Like it's these people really are not well liked at all.
Oh no. Bloke from the old 7:30 report on the ABC had an issue years ago about council wanting to approve this chemical mixing plant out North Geelong on a site that had been locked up because there'd been a chemical mixing plant there before, and they sprung a leak all over the place, and there's residential and semi-industrial and everything.
Righto.
And I thought, well, how are we going to do this, right? Because we didn't know a hell of a lot then. This is like 10 or 12 years ago at least. And I rang the 7:30 report and spoke to a bloke called Andrew Bell, and he was interested in the story. And he said, 90% of the cold calls we get from all around Victoria are for people wanting us to do a story on the council and all the dirty, rotten things they've done to us,
Wow.
And
there you go.
That's it.
So they know. So I don't understand. I mean, particularly our pathetic excuse for journalists here at the Townsville Bulletin, probably some of the lowest forms of life in this town, I think. They go to town to protect the council, like every now and then they'll do a dirty story on them where it's like, it's so painfully obvious that they're in the wrong, that if they didn't report on it, that all credibility of the Townsville Bulletin would be lost if they have any left at all, but for the most part, they're in there protecting the interests of the worst of the worst.
Here they give them a kicking every now and then, but not for long enough and not hard enough.
Yeah.
And I could probably raise an issue with the paper because they're a commercial operation too.
Yeah.
Because when I went the article about the council watchdogs bleat article that I sent you.
Okay.
There's a link to the my appearance at council in 2019, where I told them expect to get sued if you grant this, if you award this contract.
Sorry, which one was that again? Sorry, so I can bring it
Council
up.
watchdogs bleat about accountability. I'm sure I sent it to you. It's got the picture of me holding a council rigged it thing from the local paper. Cairns News published it.
No, I don't think I got that one. I'll just do a search for it. What was it called again? Sorry.
Council watch groups bleat about accountability. but reject the liability aspect. Cairns News.
Yep, got it here.
Well, there you go. Yeah, there's a link to the live stream in there. There we go.
Yeah, nice.
They never got sued about that because it wasn't defamatory.
And there's a link.
There's a link in there to the live stream of where I appeared at the council meeting and told them to expect to get sued. I think they put it in.
There's a few links here.
Verbally notice, that'll get you there.
That it? Yep.
Yep. There we go.
Oh wow! So that's a 4-hour video.
No, you get 42 minutes in. Go 42 minutes in.
Vision, commitment, and experience.
Now, can everybody hear that?
Yeah, I'm getting it all right.
If I press play, you can hear it all right?
This isn't about building stuff out of asphalt or concrete. We are planting seeds in the hopes that lush gardens will grow. We have the seeds we need. They are fertile, natural, on and on it goes. If someone advocates infrastructure like this and actually believes it is good, they probably shouldn't be advocating bicycle infrastructure. So my question is, how is Council's plan for bi-directional lanes on the western side of Moorabool Street in front of a high-volume service station consistent with safety for cyclists?
Appreciate your comments and questions this evening, John. Again, these are things that will be debated and discussed during items 2 and 3 this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. There's a couple of questions, I think, on the right-hand side here. There's a gentleman here. I think there's another gentleman on the left there.
There we go.
Good evening, Gary Aranyuk, Geelong West. Look, I became aware of the fact that you people on council are perhaps going to vote on whether the bike lane proposal goes ahead with development. Is that correct?
Correct.
Now, given that the traders in Mallup Street and Little Mallup Street, Mallup and Little Mallup Street incurred considerable losses to their trade whilst the works were going on there, I think you people on council should already, without me telling you, be aware that council, and I think it's Vic Roads and TAC are partners in this project. I think you need all to be aware that if you're going to vote for this project to proceed and begin, then you're also assuming liability, all of you, professionally and personally, for the people's losses, especially if they go broke and their businesses go down the tube. Because this, it seems to me, is not a necessary project, because there have been bicycle lanes all over Geelong for years and years and years and years, and not many people use them that I've seen. And with the Mallup Street development, I've been across those lights many, many times since the project was completed and barely seen a bicycle around the place. So I don't think this project's particularly necessary, and I really, really don't know why you people are so keen on perpetrating this thing, especially if it's going to cause significant losses and possibly the closure of people's businesses. Oh, that sounds ludicrous to me. I don't know where you got the idea from. I really don't. Now,
Do you have a question, Sarah, or was it?
yeah, well, are you people, both as council and personally, if you vote for this project to go ahead, prepared to accept the liability, full commercial liability for the losses of the traders up and down Moorabool Street and in Belmont?
Well, as I said to the other persons asking questions, that will take place during the debate this evening.
Yeah,
relation to your
okay,
question.
that's fine. Now, a small question about, because I spoke to Rod Nelson on the phone about a week ago about the removal of a tap from
that's it.
the Senior Citizens Club in Cadia Park. Now, that tap was...
All righty then. So, yeah, I kind of sidestepped that one, didn't they?
Well, if I was wrong, they would have said, you're an idiot, get out of here and don't come back.
Yeah.
Well, they do that now. Even if you ask your question, they won't talk to you.
Yeah. Well, and as we've discussed many times on this channel, they'll bring out the left hard bag of insults, cooker, conspiracy theorist, and all the other stupid little names that they've got, rather than actually dealing with facts and information, because we know when those kind of things are happening, they've lost the high ground.
That's what those blokes did on Facebook about my council rates not being legal thing. Oh, he's a cooker.
Yeah.
But to tell them that what they think is law, which is, your court sort of law, Admiralty Maritime, it's an actual threat to their very existence and their livelihood, right? And they just went ape, right? And boxed on quite a few times with them. And I said, it's not applicable to us, right? It's just private law. And they just couldn't wear it, right? Because of that, they're just saturated with it. In the end, I was just calling in the legal lumpheads, right? And just like putting shit on them, like they tried to put shit on me, but they were just absolutely infuriated, right? And like you say, if you're over the target, they react really badly, They really do.
So I consider it it's almost like a term of endearment when they start doing things like that, because thanks, I know you've just acknowledged that what I'm doing is the right thing. Cheers, thanks for that.
Yeah. Oh, we've upset them, so we're doing all right.
Exactly. It's like a surveillance drone flying over my house. It's like, oh, cool. Oh, yep, thanks, guys. So I've got a plan for that one too coming up. That'll be fun.
Yeah. So, look, with the council thing, had that win. That was 3 years later, after that, what you saw there on the live stream. They were going to have a crack at it again. I just wrote the lawful notice. And I didn't even go to the meeting because I find them really toxic. And I emailed it in to every councillor and the CEO and texted the mayor. Said, look, Pete, you better have a look in your inbox. You've got one from me. So they had their meeting that night, and I just said the same thing, right? Full commercial liability, expect to get the pantsuit off you and claims made against you that'll be paid by your insurer. And that was the 26th of July 2022. And the next month was just a really good day because I had a look at the paper online, and the local paper published an article saying they'd scrapped the contract entirely. Unheard of. That was a really good day. Because, you're right about things, but when you actually make them pack it in, that's like something really, really different. It's like an epiphany, you just go, shit, I knew I was right, but they've proved it for me.
Yeah, exactly.
And that was fair. Cairns News counted up the businesses, 55 businesses, right? And April 30th this year, it'll be 6 years they've been trading merrily and happily, unencumbered by any construction banging up the works, So they're doing all right. But the thing is that I had that win, another little one here just down the main street here in Geelong West. But you'd really need a lot of people to get on board to get any more wins, right? Because after that one, they just went and approved developments all over the place. But they're still liable. But the thing I told you about the In Power movement
yes,
is the way to go. I think you know about that already anyway, yeah?
I wasn't aware until you brought it up.
Yeah.
I've had a brief look at it. So it's empowerment.org, isn't it? Yeah. That's it.
Empowermovement.org, yeah.
So I'll just add that to the stage there. And
That's them,
this.
yep.
Yeah. So yeah, I haven't had a great deal chance to look at it. I think you said it's a members platform. You're going to pay $22 a month or something like that.
Yeah, it's 15 bucks anywhere. Yeah, it gives you full
looks
access.
into all the things that people are, with half a brain, you should be concerned about. Of course, the morons, the mainstream love to drag these things up and go, oh my God, the 5G conspiracy theorists and the anti-vaxxers and these people that are against smart cities, like it's some sort of a crime to point it out. It's like, seriously, guys, have you read the literature? Do you see where this smart city shit's going? Like, it's not good. It's bad. It's all bad, yeah. Anyway, continue.
It all comes because the mayor, the former mayor, a couple of years ago, was quoted in the local paper, the Geelong Advertiser, saying that he's deeply committed to our obligations to UNESCO and Korea. Huh?
Mm.
Now, all this smart cities rubbish comes from UN, UNESCO, etc., because they're pushing the smart cities and all that sort of business. And what I found out was in 2018, I wrote a lawful notice to the mayor at that time, who's going to Poland to attend a UNESCO conference, right?
Mm.
And in my researches, I found that I got onto the Australian Local Government Association and found some stuff from UNESCO, right? Because it's been well known for a long time that most councils in Australia are signatories to the UN Agenda 2130 thing, right?
Yep.
And UNESCO is doing all this to smart cities, all the other bloody rubbish, clever, creative cities and stuff.
Mm.
And UNESCO regard or refer to signatories as contractors, because the UN is a corporation, 52% owned by the Rothschilds and a bunch of other banks. Anna Ron Reich did a bit of stuff about that. It's actually a corporation. It's a business, right?
Yeah.
It's non-governmental anyway, so it's a private organisation. And when the mayor said that, these obligations, committed to his obligations, I wrote to council and said, okay, obligations seems to indicate that there's an agreement or contract involved in it. I'd like to know what the terms and conditions of the contract are.
Yeah.
And how that contract came to be in existence without the full knowledge of the local constituency. Never heard anything back from them. So they accepted. I'll give them a reply date, but they were not going to fess up to quietly contracting away the constituency, right? And that all remains to be covered. But I haven't really got into the in-power stuff, but it's the absolute best thing under the sun, because they're saying that they made, with their notices of liability, they made recently the Victorian Treasurer Tim Pallas stepped down.
Oh wow!
And I know. I know a bloke in Frankston who's doing the in-power stuff, and a huge group of 9 people. I rang him a few days ago. I said, Greenie, did your mom have anything to do with this Tim Pallas thing? He says, I didn't know it till I went to a meeting of the group, and they're all laughing and carrying on. And I said, what's going on? They said, Tim Pallas stepped down because they issued him notices of liability.
Yeah.
And these things are as technical as you can ever get, right? Absolutely perfect. And he told me that they were billing, because they bill they send a courtesy letter, and then get told to get stuff, so they put a claim in, etc., and a few other things. Technically incredible. And they start billing after a while when they go into, like, you notice a default, right?
Yep.
You did with your council. They start billing, and they were billing Tim Pallas at $50,000 a day.
Oh, nice.
Day after day after day after day. And he stepped down, right? And Greenie, he's out for blood, right? He's not taking any prisoners, right? He's like really fierce, right? They're saying that they made Daniel Andrews step down, right? The notorious Daniel Andrews.
Yeah.
The Premier of Western Australia, Mark McGowan. And I reckon they'd be right. You'll see a photograph of the bloke that issued the notices, right, on the InPower website. Mark McGowan, he stepped down. He said he'd all burned out and, had to spend time with his family.
Yeah.
But about 3 weeks down the track, he's on the boards of about 3 different companies. He's back in business. Right?
I think we've got the dude here.
That's him. That's Cal. He's amazing. Absolutely
Yep.
amazing. Yeah, you got to watch his videos. The Law Merchant.
Rightio.
Couple of videos about that. Because, with your birth certificate, right?
Oh, wow. They're actually going through.
All over the joint. Yeah.
Look at that.
I think there's Denmark's there. They made the Queen of Denmark step down over the vaccinations and the 5G.
The Queen?
The Queen of Denmark.
I didn't realize that was something. Well, I mean, I knew you can was that full abdication? Like,
yeah, stepped down, just packed it in because Cal Washington, the Negro bloke you see there, he's from Canada, right?
Right.
He went through the whole mill and sussed it all out. And he worked out that they've turned you into a merchant, right?
Yeah, abdication.
There you go.
There you go. Queen Margaret the Second, Danish monarch, announces abdication live on TV. Wow.
Well, that fella Cal Washington there, the principal of InPower movement, in one of the videos he said he billed the Queen Elizabeth II for $300 million.
All right,
And Canada, he made the bigwig representative of the Privy Council step down through this notices of liability thing. Peter Gutwein, the Premier of former Premier of Tasmania, red hot. But you've got to have a look at it and have a look at the interviews. He says they use the law merchant, right, which is fairly ancient law of commerce, right? And he worked out that they'd turned him into a merchant, right? He sussed it all out. They put him in jail. They had him up on traffic things, family law things. It's really, really smart guy. He eventually worked it out. And when he figured the thing out, he said, I decided to start acting as a merchant in the courts. And when he did, the judge ran out of the courtroom. Right?
Wow.
The judge ran out of the courtroom. And there's 2 law merchant ones, which I should just send you the links so you get them.
Yeah.
I think I did send them to you, yeah? Your people want to watch that because this way of holding these people to their commercial liability actually works. It's red hot. They'll all step down.
Yeah, nice.
And like you issued your notice of default
Yeah.
to the council, so you should start billing them a few $1,000s a day or something. But he shows you the whole process. It's just absolutely foolproof,
Yeah, nice.
Absolutely foolproof because they're all commercial operations. And with my council, initially, the thing that made my ears prick up was when someone asked them a question about something they were doing, some project they had on their mind. And the council said, oh, no, we can't tell you anything about that because that's commercial in confidence.
Yeah.
Right? Now, lawful government, proper constitutional lawful government is all unincorporated. Has to be unincorporated because they get their taxes from the people, and more importantly, their credit, right? Because they can, they can borrow and do all this sort of stuff.
Yeah, which henceforth the government, has run us into horrific debt, and particularly down in Victoria there with Dan Andrews and now the protege, Jacinta, which seems to be a really nasty name in politics. Whether you're in Australia or New Zealand, yeah, exactly, Queen Ardern. You just hear the word Jacinta and your skin crawls these days. I feel sorry for anybody whose name is Jacinta who's actually a decent person.
Put the flak jacket and the helmet on and get ready for action. Because they're all commercial operatives. The commercial in confidence, right? Everything lawfully governmental must be on the public record, unless it's sort of say national security, right? How many nuclear warheads we're manufacturing this week or something like that. But everything has to be on the public record, and these councils, they just say, no, that's commercial in confidence. That's what first alerted me, and I've gone, oh, well, there's something going on here, right? That's what happened with Cal,
Yeah.
He went through it, and then when he started acting like a merchant, they didn't want to know about him. They panicked, right? They absolutely panicked because he had them knackered, right?
Yeah.
And that's where you got to go. But it's all contract jurisdiction. No contract, no jurisdiction, because the contract is the law, right?
Yeah.
If you're dealing with them in commerce, right? And the other thing is liability, because no commercial operation can legally trade without indemnity insurance, right? Like your corner shop can't trade unless they have public liability insurance. It's the same thing, indemnity insurance, right?
Yeah.
And they just cannot trade without it. And that's the thing, right? They cause you what we term any loss, harm, or injury. They have to compensate you, right? Like all these fines the coppers issue, they're actually impersonating a magistrate if they fine you, because a fine can only
they're acting like this guy up on the wall here, Judge Dredd.
Judge Dredd,
yeah. Judge, jury, and executioner.
Yeah. Because a fine can only be imposed in a court of competent jurisdiction, a magistrate or a judge, for injury to person or property, right? So you've got to hurt someone or their property, drive your car drunk through their front fence or something like that. It's meant as compensation, not for a quick earn, right? And the judges and magistrates get anywhere from 12 to 15% of any fine that gets paid, that they issued, goes into their superannuation account. So they got a pecuniary interest in fining people.
Do you have any documentation to support that?
There's if you look up Adriana Estevez.
Okay, it's going to test my limited spelling abilities here. So, Estevez, was it?
Adriana Estevez, private attorney general. Red hot, absolutely red hot.
So, AdrianaEstevez.com.
No, it's the title of a video. Adriana Estevez, private attorney general. Just have a check.
I'm probably spelling this really badly.
Got it here. Private Attorney General. Yeah, Private Attorney General Adriana Estevez on the rise.
There should be a thing down the bottom here, man. You should be able to see a button that says present there. And if you click,
okay.
yeah, you click present and you go share screen, you should be able to show us what you've got there.
Yeah, okay. Where are we?
When you go share screen, it'll come up with your options. You can go window and just select your browser.
Oh, yeah, okay. Screen share.
So yeah, screen share. You'll see there's three things at the top. You know, it'll have a browser tab, and you can actually select a tab within the browser if you're doing it in the same browser that you're currently using, or you can go to window and it'll if you got.
There it is, I think. Red up.
Yeah.
Yeah, she goes into court and makes judges stand down because they haven't disclosed their pecuniary interests, right? Because the judges anywhere, and an article I read recently, but I'll have to dig it up, from Anna von Reitz, who's like an absolute red hot source. She says that for any misdemeanor they bill, they make $25,000 and a couple of million for a felony, which is like a criminal offence.
Yeah.
And what these judges, she makes this Adriana Estevez makes step down. They have shares in the private prisons that they send these people to.
Oh, what?
Right? Yeah, because they post a bond, right?
Yep.
And they post a bond, and the actual one in court is actually the legal fiction, right?
Yeah.
So they take the body of the man as surety for the bond, and when the bond matures and they get to pay their millions, you get let out of jail. They've made their money. They don't need your carcass in their jail anymore because they've made, their 25 million or whatever.
Yeah.
And she's made them step down.
Wow.
A really good video. It goes for a while, but well worth watching. Yeah, she's just amazing. That woman, so knowledgeable. So that's good info for all the people. So, like solutions, right? Because I'm sort of telling you, contract, no contract, no jurisdiction, and liability is applicable to all government departments, councils, etc. Now, the best solution is that in-power thing, but you've got to study it a bit. But the other solution is, like with the potholes thing, one of the solutions is, because there's an election coming up, you go, like you're good at writing notices and stuff. You write notices to your local members and get as many people to write letters as you can, because they will panic when you say, well, we're going to hold you liable, because the fuel excise thing is meant to pay for the maintenance and construction of the roads. And that amounts, the excise is like nearly $16 billion a year. And it's not being spent on the roads because the roads all over Australia are knackered. And you got to say that you're going to hold them liable, and they're not going to get your vote. And if they get like 50 to 60 letters, and they're on a bit of a margin, right, in their electorate, they're going to panic, because it's a bit like the old rule of thumb with hospitality, right? I'm a veteran of hospitality. One disgruntled customer will tell 20 other people that the restaurant they've just been at is not a very good place to eat, So, you still there? I know what's happened to you. Oh. Are we back? Something's happened. Oh. Mm-hmm. Don't know what's happened here. See what happens.
Sorry, I lost internet there for a second.
Right.
I was desperately trying to get something going on my phone here.
Yeah.
So yeah, like so this is two Fridays in a row this has happened, and it was very convenient timing that happened. But fortunately, StreamYard holds these things. So sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. It's that's just the way things happen. Unfortunately, sometimes. It's the recent couple of podcasts I've done have really pissed people off by the look of things. So there you go. So I've just got to figure out how to set this up for backup in case something goes wrong again. But sorry. So where were we when we lost out? I just went into panic mode then. Sorry.
Oh, just talking about solutions.
Right. Yeah, so we had the Adriana Estevez thing going. So obviously, you need to know where the judges have sort of invested and whatnot. So a bit of research and digging needs to be done to some of these people.
Yeah. I reckon even the coppers probably get a cut of the fine. Any fine that they impose that people pay. But I think the solution is.
I think it's like a lot of things. It's a case of the certain ones who know what's going on do. So
Yeah. There'd be people that are in the know and other ones that are just like grunts out on the road, beating around the streets. But with that thing about dealing with the coppers, I think that's pretty good. But you've done your notices and your default things to your local council.
Yep.
I think you need to attack your local, state, and federal members. Right?
That's definitely one of the things, because at the end of the day, that notice of default has basically said to the council that you've now admitted that you're breaking your own laws. You were unable to provide proof that you're adhering to the law. Most of them felt that just flat out ignoring me was the approach, which clearly didn't work. Isn't going to work for them. But yeah, I've got a couple of different ideas up my sleeve. I don't want to talk too much about what I'm planning to do, because
good idea. Yeah.
I want them to sort of get the fuck. I'd love to be the fly on the wall.
Yeah, they will talk about any threat. They'll panic if you hold them to their commercial liability. They're going to worry about it because you can hold them to their personally, and you can hold them in their job, in the office that they hold. And if what they do to you is bad enough, and you make a claim against them, then
Sorry, just got my backup
Could be in
scenario
trouble.
there. So in case we lose mute. Did that mute it? No. Uh-oh. There we go. That's better. Volume, bugger off. There we go. Sorry. All right. Back up, just in case we lose signal again. It's always, it seems to be an issue now. I'm going to have this going more often. So I'll go on blank. I was just too busy thinking about backup. Anyway, there was other things we wanted to talk about too. So because the flooding thing we were talking about earlier today, and because here in Queensland we obviously, well, Townsville specifically we had quite the big flood back in 2019, I believe it was. 2019. Excuse me. And I think council's probably is liable for a lot of the damages there. As we were saying, they're in charge of planning and setting out where you can and can't build. And a lot of the problems I think they've had is they've allowed people to build on the floodplains and whatnot, and we've got all sorts of problems as a result.
Yep. Well, that's probably a good reason why people build high-set houses in Queensland, isn't it?
Yeah, but amazingly, all these new developments are all on friggin' on a slab. Like they should be, particularly in those areas. And like I spoke to a few people in those areas, and they were told that, oh, look, the once in 100-year flood, we should have had at least that much clearance. I'm like, they gave you that much clearance when they were building, that much. Like that's not a lot to give, like I'm absolutely standard that's a building standard as well, that they're going to build to, about an inch, maybe 5 centimeters at best or something. But yeah, like I was astounded talking to people, and clearly it didn't, because, it was coming in, sort of knee height in a lot of these people's houses. So they were way off the mark.
Yeah. Well, you wouldn't buy a house in North Queensland unless it was a high set, would you?
Well, I think it's got to be in the right spot too. Like the place I'm in at the moment isn't a high set, but we survived the flood, because we were in the higher end of the area when Mayor Jenny Hill decided to open the floodgates. Well, again, I don't understand why it was allowed to get up to, I think it was about 220% capacity before they gone, oh, I think we'd better let it go. Like, shouldn't you have been letting it go once it reached 100, over 100%? Because as I understand, we're now dealing with structural integrity issues. That's why there's 100% capacity. So, the fact that they let it get to that height before they did anything about it and then just let it go for days on end, it's like, what the hell were you thinking? Again, I'd love to see the documents as to what happened there. But anyway, here's another issue. Walk us through this one, mate.
This is I went out to see this guy the day it appeared in the paper.
Yeah.
Lara is a suburb about 6 or 7 miles north of Geelong, and the bloke that got the developer that got paid out that $6.5 million by council's insurer built a lot of the houses in Lara. Right, they're all on slabs, and the Geelong Advertiser published this article about how the drainage was not good enough around that particular area. Kioma Court in Lara is just near the railway station there. And they've been having flooding issues for 40 years.
Yeah. And pleading with council for that 40 years.
For 40 years. Yeah, I couldn't believe it. So I don't drive anymore, but I jumped on the train and went out to Lara and found the bloke. You see, if you scroll down a bit, Tony Hill, went and knocked on his door and spoke with him and his wife. And he said, people don't believe it. They say it couldn't be 40 years. And he said, yes, 40 years they've been asking for it, right? And around that time, that's a couple of years ago, the council were claiming they didn't have any money, right? And they
But
wanted.
they never seem to be,
Yeah.
unable to pay their bills though. Like at no point have I seen council go, oh look, we're a bit low on bucks. You know what? We could probably tighten our belts a little bit and stop maybe paying the CEO $500,000 a year. Or maybe we could take a bit of a pay cut here and help out the town. No, that never happens.
No. Well, here, right, 10 years ago, a bloke that owned a really good pub in Geelong, I bumped into him down the street, and he told me that his ex-wife, working as a CPA for Dun& Bradstreet, did the audit on Geelong Council there one year, 10 or 12 years ago, whatever it was. And this is at a time when they had 1,200 employees, and everyone thought the joint was overstaffed, right? Because there's about 1,150 employees that don't do anything, right?
Yeah.
And he said that two of her findings were that, the jobs for the boys thing, right, is rife. Don't need to be told that. And she said that council could shed up to 2/3 of its staff without any loss of service delivery. Like 800 people, they could get rid of up to 800 people out of the 1,200 and not miss a beat on service delivery, right? And now the number of employees is 2,800 here in Geelong, with wages and salaries bill of $190 million. And the CEO gets like nearly $750,000.
Yeah, our CEO's on a similar package. It's like, how are these people allowed to have that much money and benefits on top? Like it's obscene, and then they turn around, this is the article, and I'd like to notice to everybody the Geelong Advertiser, which is that's a really appropriate name. They're an advertiser. We're not even going to call ourselves a newspaper or any form of journalism. Straight up, we're just advertisers. So, and it's clearly Murdoch Media, because I can tell the way my browser's presenting this is exactly the same as the Courier Mail, the Townsville Bulletin, Cairns Post, and all these other ones you see all the way down the coast. Murdoch Media's finest. Residents in Geelong North have hit out at the council's galling lack of action to solve flooding and drainage issues, despite claiming to have first appealed for help 40 years ago. And a $1.3 million project to improve drainage is in the low-lying Kiama, is that how you say it? Kiama Drive area won't be delivered for years to come, despite being listed in the city's 2022 and 23 budget. Kiama Drive resident Anthony Hill this week said his street and many nearby were repeatedly flooded during major rains and had seen little to no solutions put forward by successive councils. And I think in here there's a lovely picture of what the roads and the area is looking like. Do you know if this has actually gotten into people's houses?
We didn't discuss that. We discussed, just the fact that he'd put his own pump to pump out water, but people would have had to. You can see the level of water there. Would have got.
Yeah.
They're all on the slab. No one had to replace furniture.
If that slab isn't, a bit higher, because in some of these you can see the grass. So to me, it looks like it's just going to be lapping the doorstep. I'm guessing,
For some reason, we didn't discuss, replacement of furniture and all that. But I reckon people would have. But the thing is, with any council in any state, as the councils in Victoria are saddled with the responsibility for enforcing the Water Act.
Yeah.
And that means, because councils do stormwater and, the gutters and all that. The Water Authority does water in and sewage out. That's here in Victoria anyway. So
I like this statement. Sorry to cut you off there. This bloody the Geelong City Services Director Guy Brown acknowledged that it's a long-standing issue, but he's also said it's a complex issue that we are actively looking to solve. For 40 years, I mean, how many people are liable for this fucking negligence? I would down as criminal negligence on a level that I've never seen before. 40 years of neglect.
Well, that's actually criminal negligence.
Yeah.
It's actually criminal negligence.
I can't think of another way to describe it myself.
No, you can't. It's just well, because they don't have a contract. It's not exactly breach of contract, but it's they have obligations. Right?
Mm.
They're there to municipal services, what they're obliged to provide.
It's the purpose of frigging council, exactly. Is to to make sure this stuff is adequate, maintained, and fit to purpose.
Yep.
We say it all the time on this podcast. It's only their fucking job. It's
yeah. Well, they're a bit slow, aren't they?
Yeah,
they're a bit slow. I'm going to have to go out there again because there's a fair few young people were out there, had homes out there in that same place as Tony. I'm just going to have to say, look, you need to, because you need to put up that question of liability video, how to make a claim against your local council.
Yeah.
That's what people want to know, because there is a claims process. And I can tell you, like, that developer got paid his $8.5 million, not via that process, just by legal means. But a friend of mine got paid out, should have got paid a lot more, got paid out $20,000 by the council's insurer last year.
Wow.
I sort of gave him a bit of coaching how to make his claim. But he had flooding problems in his house because that's another issue. That's in Belmont. That's Lorraine there in the front. Went and saw her the same day.
Yeah,
that was in the paper. Now, that's a long-established suburb. That's got houses that are like 70, 80 years old. It's the top of the hill, right? It's up the top of the hill. When you go past Cardinia Park, where the Cats play, you go up to Belmont, and her place is up the top, nearly about 2/3 of the way up the hill.
Yeah.
In Belmont. And she said one bloke up there said, oh, if you open the front, they had 30 millimetres of rain, right? Which is like not much as far as North Queenslanders are concerned.
Yeah. Yeah.
But where Lorraine's place is, she said they put in a new spoon drain and it just didn't work. She was getting bloody flooding in her little backyard and everything.
Yeah.
And it's one bloke, because they had the day I went to see her, it was a stinking hot day, but I went anyway. And I had a yak with her for an hour or so. And they had a bit of a town hall meeting up there, up in her area that night. And one bloke said that he'd spent $60,000 fixing things, new furniture and everything else. And another bloke said, well, if I open they've had a lot of rain events up there, right?
I love rain events. I always buy my tickets early to rain events.
Oh, yeah. Don't forget the popcorn, yeah.
Yeah.
And he said, if I open the front door, the water just goes straight through the house and out the back door.
Wow.
That's how much rain they were getting. And another bloke was a couple of $100,000 over the years. And he and his wife were concerned about not being insurable anymore, because the insurance had paid out a fair bit. And it's a real issue. Lorraine's 80 years old, and look, she's hoping some of the youngsters will come in and start kicking ass a bit. But at the meeting, I got up and said, because there was a guy from infrastructure there, Sean McNulty, I think is his name, who, and I just said, that all these people, because council caused the problem with the drainage, they're responsible for stormwater.
Yep.
They ballsed it up. They created the problem. They have an insurer, JLT, public sector, who they're going to have to make claims against council, and the insurer's going to end up having to pay, and council's got to fix the problem.
Yeah. So
yeah,
at that point, I mean, if the insurance company's turning around and saying, "Look, it's clearly council's fault," council are liable again.
The council's the JLT, the council insurer. When my friend got the day that the friend that got the 20 grand went to the final negotiation at council, right? He made a claim in the process that's described in my video.
Yeah.
The insurer sent a representative to the final negotiation, which is like a really big deal,
Yeah.
And he should have actually got, because he fought them, the council, for 11 years at VCAT, which is the tribunal you go to.
Yeah.
Spent $70,000
Straight.
going to VCAT with lawyers and everything. I went to one of them.
Yeah.
And the member said, "Oh, well, the Water Act hasn't been complied with." And that should have been the end of it. But they strung him out, and he kept boxing on and spending more money. He should have got about $200,000.
Yeah.
You should have got 3 times. Thing about lawyers, right? A lawyer always has to take his checkbook to court, because if he balls us up, especially like if the lawyer's chasing you for money for someone, and he doesn't put a true bill into the court, right? It has to be a true bill of particulars, whatever, what they're claiming, and they never do it. If you bust them on that, they have to pay you 3 times the amount they're trying to claim.
Right.
So the lawyer always has to have his checkbook on him. And Stan should have got, because I said to him, "You've had to write documents and do this and that, the thing." And I said, "Look, my standard rate that I bill them for is $250 an hour or part thereof, right?" So he spent thousands of hours over 11 years. I said, "Well, you just count up the hours and multiply that by 250. That's a fair bit of money, You should be in for about $2 million. But if he scored about 250 grand, he'd be fairly happy, That's what people need to do: make claims as per the process outlined in the video, and go through with it. Because the process is, you write to council, say you've done wrong. This is what it's cost me. I need to be compensated. And they tell you to get stuffed. So you write up your claim, right? Tell the absolute truth. Take it into risk management, because your council will have a risk management department, right? And they have risk management has 3 months to process the claim. And if they can't rebut the claims you've made in your statement of claim, then if council refuses to pay, the risk people are obliged to forward it to the insurer, right? So they have 3 months, right, to try and rebut the claim, whatever. So you tell the absolute truth, right? Don't tell any lies. If they ping you on one thing, you're done for, right? So at the end, if the insurer tells council, "Well, the claim's valid," right, and council won't pay, then the insurer has to pay out. It's a by law sort of thing.
Yeah.
And Stan got his. Not sure who else have got paid. But the bloke the mate that found the insurer, I took a claim in for him. That was $7.5 million. But he didn't want to action it because he was busy beating up the local government minister, and he was beating up the commissioner of police and all sorts of things. So he wasn't worried about making the claim or actioning the claim. But an interesting thing happened, because this guy writes stuff you wouldn't believe, like he's really deadly. and one of his letters to the registered mail to the Minister for Local Government, Natalie Carews, a couple of ministers ago, got banged up at the electorate at the post office in her electorate, and was not delivered. Right? So someone said, "Don't send any of this guy's mail to us. Don't deliver it." And Australia Post paid him $106 compensation for failure to deliver.
Rightio.
Now,
but coming back to this article here, you know, it's a flood of complaints. You know, Belmont residents concerned their properties are being flooded due to a drain installed by Geelong Council, have launched a community campaign to find a fix. You know, I mean, so this is where the water's washed out along her fence line. Is that correct? And she's standing in the depth of the hole.
Quite possibly. Didn't look at it. I just went inside and had a chat with her. She knows the issues.
Yeah.
I just went there to tell them how to make a claim.
Right.
All over the place, these people have got, all over Geelong, people have got drainage issues. Lara, up the road here. One bloke's had to move out of his house up the road here. It's unlivable. They just renege on their responsibilities, and no one has known up till now how to action it, right? How to get the compensation. A lot of these
I
people
like this. Sorry. What she says here is, I'm a little old lady who the council just think is a troublemaker. And, you know, that's kind of how our mainstream media are treating people for pointing out, again, these bastards aren't doing their fucking job.
Yeah. And the newspaper, the Will Keats, he's a little prick, right? He, the online article about this, right, because they publish it online, the story online, and then the next day it's actually printed in the paper. He called her a troublemaker, and she told me when I spoke to her. I said, "Well, that's defamatory." I said, "You should sue him for a couple of $100,000, right?"
Defamation.
And she said, "I'm thinking about it." But, you know, she's 80 years old. She doesn't want to, you know, like a lot of older people, just want to kick back and relax. You know, they don't really want to arc up. But
well, that's it. You know, at that age, you know, you've worked all your life for the betterment of mankind in whatever, you know, chosen profession. You know, you've earned your pension well and truly at this point in your life. You've paid your taxes. You've paid your dues. You know, in any civilized society, you have respect for your elders and the knowledge and experiences that they've gained over the years, but they just want to fob people off as troublemakers. Like it's so disrespectful.
It is, yeah. You know, I'll tell you about disrespect because another couple I know out in the northern part of Geelong. This was like back in the Steve Brack's era, which is like 20 years or so ago. I just got to know these people somehow, and they got on this Labor government own your own house scheme that turned out to be a massive rip-off.
What a surprise.
Labor.
I'm fucking shocked. The Labor government coming up with another rip-off scam? No.
And John and Rhonda fought the Steve Brack. So I'm not going to tell you who the Attorney General was, but you'll work it out from his Brax's regime. They fought the government for 10 years, and they ended up winning. Right?
Yeah.
But along the way, John and his wife made an appointment to see the Attorney General, right? And, okay, so they go off to Parliament House and off to his office or whatever and sit there and tell the story. And this is indicative of what bastards government are, right?
Yeah.
And John, I thought, if anyone's going to spontaneously human combust, it's going to be John because he's that mad, you know, just about steam coming out of his ears. He's just like, you know.
Yeah.
I sat down and told the Attorney General the horror story, right? And finished telling him, and he just turned around and looked at him and said, "Oh, you pathetic little people."
Oh, wow.
You pathetic little people.
What a scumbag. What a scumbag.
That is what they're like. They don't give a rat's about anybody. They're just out to screw you for everything they can
Yep.
get out of you. You know.
But that's it. Little people, get out of my way, peasant. Here are my table scraps, and be happy with them.
Oh. I used to drink with his brother, this bloke's brother, Matt. You know, I used to live in St Kilda, and lived in the Prince of Wales Hotel. That was a bit of a hoot. And we
Yep,
used to
yep.
drink with his brother. His brother was a good bloke, but Matt was a good bloke, but his brother was a bloody complete and utter bastard. You know,
Yeah.
these pathetic little people. And that's the
Mm.
attitude. You know? They're all
Yeah.
mongrels. You know?
Mm.
And I'll tell you about how, because I'm in public housing, right? And oh goodness me, there's about a kilometre and a half away. There's some other units down in Newtown, which are pretty close to Cardinia Park. You know, the home of the Cats.
Yeah.
And this extraordinary article came out, right, about these flats down there. And this brother and sister lived in this flat, right? They were, you know, they're elderly, right, 70s.
Yeah.
And neighbours had been complaining about this horrible smell coming from the flat, right? And no one went down to check it out, right? And in housing here are supposed to carry out an inspection at least once a year, right? Come in, have a look around. They went in and found the brother had died years before, right?
Mm.
And this lady, because they'd lost their parents, like sort of fairly tragically when they were very young, and they were really tight and they were very insular. When they finally went into the place, they didn't take a body out; they took a skeleton.
Oh wow.
A
So
skeleton
completely
from the flat.
decomposed.
Yeah,
Strange.
completely decomposed, right? That's how negligent housing are. Huh?
That's disgraceful.
Yeah. Totally, they took a skeleton out of there. Huh? It's just extraordinary. Right? These governments are just like,
Yeah.
you know, I say, well, if you can't see the love in anything government does, then they're not anything you really want, is it? Are they? You know?
Mm. Yeah, exactly.
There ain't no love there, you know? So yeah, the solutions, that video about liability, that's applicable to any government department, right?
Mm.
Councils, government departments, because they're all incorporated and they're all agents of the state government. So the ultimate liability rests with the Premier.
Mm-hmm.
He'll be the CEO of the corporation, the Victorian Government Corporation or Queensland Government Corporation.
And
So
the local
they're
governments are created under the local government, you know, power. And so, well, I mean, the state government's power creates the local government act. So that makes them, I guess, the controlling body.
The councils are not constitutionally recognised, so they're not government, right?
Yeah,
not lawful
yeah. Because
government.
when we just, there was two referendums, third strike, they're out. So
yeah. Oh, when I was the mayor that was going to UNESCO, I checked out. In my research, as I checked out the Australian Local Government Association, who that year 2018 had a big jamboree. I think it was in Melbourne. I just don't remember. It's just a good few years ago. And they had representatives from all, I think it's 371 councils in Australia. And they're looking at a referendum, right? The third referendum for recognition of local government in the Constitution. And they packed it in because after you get 3 shots and that's it, right? You don't get another one. So they didn't go there. And they said on their website that year, 2018, I'd say financial year, the total take for all 351 or 371 councils that year was $17.4 billion.
Wow.
A lot of money. And they're always saying they're broke. You know?
Yeah, it mystifies me. Again, where does all this money go? You know? And that was one of the big questions I had with, you know, Troy Thompson before he was elected mayor and has now been pushed aside by, you know, the people in power who don't want free thinking happening in there at all.
Oh,
It was,
goodness me.
mate. I'd love to. Please get in there and let's find out where all this money's going. What the hell is happening?
Yeah.
So yeah. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to obtain a great many of those answers yet, but we'll see what happens.
A bloke from northwestern Victoria that I just spoke to yesterday, he was told by a bloke that was a councillor there who's now the mayor of that particular shire that the councillors have to sign a non-disclosure agreement.
Yes.
So
and I think that's where we're going to encounter certain problems. So
yeah. So they're not allowed to tell certain things. But what he did was, because my friend knows this bloke, and because he was out of contract, right? When they're up electioneering, they're out of contract, right? And he told this bloke Rick that I couldn't have told you about this when I was in office because I was I was gagged.
Yep.
He said the Victorian government has this scheme called PILOR, PILOR, right?
Right.
Which is payment in lieu of rates, right?
Okay.
And the issue up in that area is all these, solar panels and PILOR, Victorian government. You'll dig that up. And it's a sweetener for these councils to approve these transmission towers. They're like 65
payment
meter
in
high.
lieu of rates for electricity generators.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a sweetener, so that's an inducement for them to approve these contracts with. There you go. How's that?
A methodology that allows councils and electricity generators to negotiate payments in lieu of rates. Wow.
Well, yeah. What does that exactly mean? Payments in lieu of rates, right?
Established under Section 94 of the Electricity Industry Act 2000. Framework allows electricity generators to negotiate payments made to local councils. It includes a methodology under Section 94(6)(a) to assist in calculating these payments. For most generators, the methodology includes both a fixed and variable component, the latter based on the nameplate capacity of the power station. So it's just based on what they write on the nameplate. So it doesn't. It's got nothing to do with how much power it actually generates. Just how much we've decided it generates is how I'm reading this. For community and smaller commercial solar and wind. So there's solar as well as wind generators up to 25 megawatts capacity. The methodology sets a variable charge only based on electricity generation sent to the grid, subject to a minimum amount payable. This aims to encourage more community projects and lower access costs for smaller renewable generators while ensuring councils receive enough revenue to help fund local services. So it's fucking wow. Talk about rigged.
That's like insider trading, isn't it, in a way?
Yeah.
And the bloke up there.
Oh wow! Talk about buying them off. Fuck me. I have to check to see if there's something similar to this in because this is Victoria. I imagine there's similar things happening across every state.
Well, my power company, I've been boxing on with them for a year, and I won't mention the name of the company, but when you go to they always have an About Us page, a link, a tab. That's the top of the thing.
Yeah.
And it disappeared because I went there, right? I went to About Us, and I went straight to the Australian government, Australian energy operator or whatever it is, right? The About Us should tell you who's on the board, show you an annual report, and who the staff are and everything else. But it went straight to the Australian energy market operator. Right?
Yeah.
The bloke that told me about the misleading practices thing, I sent him the link, and he got back to me and he said, "Yeah, that's just the federal government trying to wiggle their way around the antitrust laws."
Oh, wow.
Right? Because I'm telling my retailer that they need to send me an itemised, because they charge me $97 and something a month as a service to property charge, right? That's
Yeah.
just for the wire coming to the building, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Copper wire.
Yeah.
And I said to him, now, under the consumer law, I'm entitled to an itemised account, true bill, whatever you want to call it, bill of particulars,
Yeah.
detailing what makes up this actual service charge, right? Service to property charge. And they can't do it.
It's a good
Right?
one.
They can't do it, right? And I haven't paid them for a year. I haven't paid them
So
anything for
what?
over a year.
So you're just not paying the bill at all, or are you just like neglecting the service to charge component and paying for the electricity? Because
No,
I mean,
I'm
it's
telling
like
them that I'm telling them that I'm quite happy to pay as long as they can provide that.
yeah.
And they can't. They keep saying, "Oh, it's a charge," right? So, well,
Yeah, but
I said,
for what? Because the power, it's not like I said, it's not like somebody comes out every week and polishes that fucking cable. So where's
yeah,
the service?
or
You know,
pushes
like, I
the
mean,
pedals or something like that.
it's already been installed. So
Yeah,
what service, how do you continuously charge? Like, I think our
yeah,
bill is something like $1 a day for the
yeah,
privilege of being connected. And it's
yeah.
like, but
Where
for
it come
what? What
from?
am I paying for here?
Where it come from was when they privatised the assets, right? Sold them
Yeah.
to China, majority Chinese owned, right?
Yeah.
Victoria, New South Wales, majority Chinese owned. They gave them that service to property charge to ensure profits, right?
Mm.
And they haven't been able to do it. And I said to them, well, I said, you don't generate the power, you don't own the assets. Powercore own the assets, the lines and the poles and everything else, right?
Yeah.
So you need to show me proof of ownership of anything at all in order, because you can't provide a service if you don't own the means of delivery, do you?
Yeah.
You know, if you haven't got a restaurant, then you can't supply food. And they haven't been able to do it. I just wrote back to them last week and said, "No, I already told you. You know, you got to provide this and this and this and this, right?"
So
And
how long has this been going on for?
since December the year before last. And
Right. So,
the December bill was December the year before was due 11th of December. They waived that bill, $441.
they waived the bill
They
for you
waived it.
asking about the service charges.
Do you know about the Bills of Exchange Act thing?
I'm familiar with the bills of exchange, but I would not go as far as to say that I'm well versed.
I paid that bill via the Bills of Exchange Act and said,
Yeah.
show me that it's not a legal or lawful way of paying the bill.
Yeah.
Because you can expunge, or well, there's some word for it. Because that you can do that, and the bloke in Tassie showed me how to do it, so I did that. Boxed on with them. I didn't want to push the bills of exchange thing, but I pushed this itemised account, because you're entitled to an itemised account for any purchase, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, like a mechanic fixes your car, you got to say, "I fixed the brakes, the clutch, and the bloody, the
Yeah.
sump plug and whatever." You're entitled to that because you need to know what you're being billed for.
Yeah.
I reckon it's a goer.
Mm.
And I'd never done anything like that before, but I thought, oh yeah, okay, I'll do that. So I did.
Yeah. Okay.
And
Might be worth a crack. See what
bloody
happens.
the Herald Sun recently, I've got the document there somewhere, the screenshot from the paper. One of the AGL, or one of them, the boss of AGL in Melbourne, gets paid like $5.5 million, over $5.5 million a year. You know?
Mm.
Now, this power company that I've got, they have 100,000 customers in Victoria, right? Now, if you like, it's about 300 a quarter they want for this service to property charge,
Mm-hmm.
like say 300, roughly $300. Now you multiply that by 100,000, like that's about 30 million, isn't it?
Yeah.
Every quarter that they're getting for nothing.
Wow.
Right? And I've got another article from the Herald Sun again saying that Australian people in somewhere in some time period in 1 year or 2 years or whatever have been rorted $10 billion. $10 billion. I'll send you
Mm.
the thing. If you
Yeah,
want.
yeah, you'll have to send it through. We might have to have another yarn
Um,
about that one.
yeah,
We are getting to that 2 hour mark, my friend.
yeah. Well, you'll have to get rid of me then, won't you? Yeah,
Probably have to wrap this up in some capacity, you know.
yeah.
Um,
But make sure
it's been a great
people have.
yarn.
Yeah, make sure people put that question of liability video up so they can get tuned into how to make a claim against their council,
Yeah,
because it's applicable to any government department as well and any commercial operation.
and
And they
that
all have
is,
to have indemnity and they all have to have a risk management department.
and
Okay.
that's from this fella, yeah.
Oh yeah, you gotta have a look at that. Yeah.
Yeah, is that what you're
That's,
talking about? Like
no, the question of liability
a
on
question of
YouTube.
liability.
The question of liability is the video I made.
Ah, yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, yeah,
Remember?
cool. Yeah, I remember we spoke about that. Yep, cool.
Yeah. I tend to be a bit brutal, so I said, get go and rip into it and bloody give them a kicking. You know, the question of liability. There it is. That one, top left-hand corner.
This one.
That one. Yep, that's it. Made that years ago when my mate found the council insurer. I made the video.
Hello there.
All right, cool. So I'm going to copy that. I'm going to
Yep.
drop this into the comments section for people to have a look
Yeah,
at.
yeah. Good on you.
So,
Yeah.
you know, that view count should go up a little bit.
Yep.
And
Oh, look, I haven't accessed that YouTube page for ages. I want to make an updated one anyway, but that one's pretty good. So if you put it in your comment section, well, people will watch it anyway. You know.
yeah. So and for
Yeah.
those of you who can't get to the comments section, I'm going to place it here in my North Queensland Freedom Network Telegram page. You know, so and
Yeah.
you know, to access the Telegram page, I did make a thing for that, didn't I?
The updated one will include that misleading practices thing. The link to that. So yeah, Stan got
So
his
and
20.
that's the way to find me on Telegram. So you know, just type if you got Telegram, just type in North Queensland Freedom and you'll find that page
I
because
haven't got
that's where
Telegram.
I post a lot of stuff there. You know that just makes it easy for people to access because you can download PDFs and all sorts of stuff from Telegram. It's just so much easier to use that than Facebook and X and stuff because they all seem to have their limitations. Where I find you know Telegram to be a much less limited way of doing things. And every now and then I might throw an extra present in there of something that I think people should look at that we might not always discuss on one of these podcasts. So I highly recommend people jump onto that to Telegram and have a look at that one. While I'm spruiking things, I'll also mention people to www.clo.social is the new cafe locked out social media page. You guys want to get onto that? We're currently developing that as it's set out to be like Facebook, but it's for us where we don't get censored, we don't get our videos suddenly disappearing. Like my insight for Israel video disappeared from Facebook. No, they didn't send a message, they didn't say community strike or nothing, it just disappeared. You know, I also noticed that our Knights Templar video that I have had to pull pull down as it was requested to do so by the Dean himself, because he had unfortunately sort of gone a bit too far. But when I went to go and delete it from Facebook, it actually stopped bang on at 1 hour, whereas every other platform had the whole thing going. So while Zuckerberg is going around telling everybody how he's going to, make it more free and open and all this sort of shit, yeah,
sure.
right. I'll believe it when I see it, buddy. I'll believe it when I see it. So in the meantime, closed social is the new way, and we will be developing a way to go live to closed social too. So that's something to keep an eye on. It's another, and it's important to have all those other avenues, because as we see, and things are glitching out. Some pages will accept some things, some pages won't. Obviously, cafelockedout.com is another great place to go. We're developing that web page as well, where there's going to be a lot of really good stuff for people to get a hold of, including things in the store. I'm just going to make a few bits and pieces of things for people to purchase, like the I Am Blackboard t-shirt and stuff like that. And obviously, you want to get a hold of me at NQ Freedom Network at protonmail.com. Do not send me private messages on fucking Facebook and X or anything like that. I don't have the time to go through all these fucking social media things. You want to get a hold of me, you have to email me, okay? Please don't mail bomb me either. There have been people who are sending fucking 8 emails a day. That seriously. I'm just going to block you if you do that shit, direct and to the point, please. I am a man of limited time. And, I loved what Gary did. He did send me a big email, and I'm like, well, okay, cool. Do you want to come and talk? And he did. Here he is, stepping up to the plate like a true fucking champion. So I want to thank you very much for coming on, mate, and stepping up to the plate, because it's amazing how many people will send me an email with a huge friggin' essay of stuff. It's like, well, you clearly know what you're talking about, mate. Why don't you just come and share that knowledge that you have? And unfortunately, it's not everybody's brave enough to be able to come on and do what you do, do what you've done here today and step up to the plate. So I really want to thank you for doing that.
Yeah, happy to. Yeah. Well, it's all for the benefit of the people,
That's it. And as I've said in the past, evil prevails when good people sit back and do fuck all about it.
Well, when you give people information to empower them, they get empowered, right? And that's the whole object of the exercise, right?
Yeah.
It's all for the benefit of people, because many people don't know their rights and protections under the law. But I can tell you a bit about it,
Yeah.
But, get onto the empower thing. That's really good. They're the bee's knees of all this caper.
I'll have a look and maybe even reach out to old mate, see if he wants to come on and have a yarn about his website and what he's doing. So, man, I've learned a lot today from you coming on and having this yarn, and I hope everybody else in the audience has too, mate. So thank you very much. And we might have to organise another yarn at some point, to talk about some of the other things we had a yarn on the phone about, mate.
All right. Okay, good. Thanks very much.
No worries, mate. You have a good one, buddy. I'll talk to you soon.
I've got a few tinnies left. I should be good.
No worries. I don't want you going thirsty, mate.
Sure. Cheers.
See you, buddy. All right, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all very much for watching. Look, you guys know the drill. For those who weren't there at the beginning of the show, the like button. This is the point where the show's over. The guys are standing on the stage. They're doing the bows and the how you going. We're throwing guitar picks out to the crowd, and this is the part you guys clap, right? Yay, great time. Really enjoyed that. So, but you can do that by clicking like. And the little heart things and all those other fucking buttons down the bottom that let me know that you appreciate what we do. So, it really helps. It helps bring these things up in the algorithm. So does sharing the shit out of these videos, like knowledge is power. And, I'm such an asshole that I'm sharing that power. So till the next time, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not sure what's happening Sunday yet. We'll see. You'll just have to wait and see. But we'll definitely have something for you next Friday, one way or the other. So until then, stay the best awesome people you can be. Go and have a look in that mirror and go, Struth, can I be good like Gary? Can I be as strong as Gary? Step up to the plate and, you know, present what I learned. You know, what are you good at? Well, what can you do? This is what I do. I'm good at sitting here in front of a camera and talking absolute crap, you know, and finding new ways to, you know, make mainstream media look like absolute idiots. Because, well, it's actually, it's not me finding it. They do it themselves. They really do. Yeah, it's not about, I didn't find, I just seen it, you know, observed it for what it is. Thank you for the claps, Clark. Much appreciated, my friend. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'll see you guys soon. Take care.